Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
I did the video recently about the guy who got the bill saying that he owed fines based on his house for the person who lived in the house before him years ago. And I said that he actually managed to get that taken care of. And I jokingly said, people say you can't fight City Hall, but he obviously did, and he succeeded. Well, here's another one. So we got two stories. People fighting City Hall and winning. From Fox5Atlanta.com, Adam sent me this. Atlanta property owner beats City Hall over $81,000 water bill and wins that fight in court. And so here's the thing. I've done stories before about people who have a piece of property and they've got a meter on the property, on the water that comes into it, and all of a sudden they get these insane bills. And it's like, how could you possibly have used that much water? And the obvious thing is that, no, it's not the usage, it's the meter. There's something wrong with the meter. But the city will never admit that. They go, no, you owe us all this money. So taking the city of Atlanta to court is daunting, and it's not usually a winning strategy, as noted previously. A Northwest Atlanta property owner felt she had no choice after getting $81,000 in water bills. So she had to sue the Department of Watershed Management. See, the water, they keep it in that shed. The Fox 5i team has been covering these odd cases of outrageously high water bills for more than a year. In this latest case, this woman and the Atlanta Department of Watershed Management agree that no one can find a leak. Yet they said, well, you used the water because the meter says you did. So last June, the woman told the I team that the property that this meter is on was dilapidated and had no running water. She also told the Department of Watershed Management that that was true when she appealed her $81,000 bill. And then they had to take it to court, and her attorney told a judge the same thing. So based on this much water usage, the ground of the property would have likely caved in, the attorney said at the October hearing. The property would have been floating down the street. If there was a leak to that extent, it certainly would have been noticeable. But no one noticed, and no one could find a leak. The woman hired plumbers who said there's nothing going on here. The city inspectors couldn't find anything. The property is just sitting there unused and falling apart. Now, someone suggested, what if people were stealing the water? Well, we're talking about enough water to fill, countless swimming pools. So the Atlanta Department of Watershed Management still said, you got to pay the bill. Now, keep in mind that prior to this, her bills averaged $13 a month. $13 a month. Then suddenly it jumps to where they add up to $81,000 in just a few months. So her lawyer said the city would basically like everybody to leave their common sense at the door and just accept its arguments. And apparently the board's custom is to do so, rubber stamping the department's billing errors. So if you fight it at the level with the water department, you're going to lose. You got to go to court and fight it that way. So for the first time since this water fight started, someone listened to her. In the October hearing, to have the bills tossed out, the judge questioned the city's equipment that reads water consumption. And here is the thing where it becomes so painfully obvious. She was getting the regular bills, and they replaced the meter. Suddenly, she owes them $81,000. They replace the meter, and it goes back down to $13 a month. Gee, I wonder what the problem was. So the judge remarked, I see on December 20th of 2022, 2 days before the meter was replaced, it had a normal reading. And then suddenly the next month, it shoots up and stays incredibly high until the meter was replaced again. And this is the kind of thing where you look at that, and if I was a judge, and I'm serious, if I was a judge, I would look at the water department folks and go, okay, explain to me why I've got to be the one to point out to you something that is so painfully obvious. If you don't have a good reason for it, I'm going to consider your defense frivolous. Because we hear about people who get in trouble for filing frivolous lawsuits, okay? There's also such a thing as a frivolous defense. And so the woman here filed the lawsuit, the action, to get the water bill straightened out. And the water department came into court and said she owes the money, despite the fact, you can graph it. Normal bills, normal bills, normal bills. Crazy bills, crazy bills, crazy bills. Normal, 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 normal. What happened at those 2 points? the meter got replaced. Gee, I wonder what happened. So last month, the judge told the water department that no, the woman does not have to pay the bill. The evidence reflects the abnormally high water bills were invalid. She goes on to say that the board's decision to deny billing adjustment was not supported by any evidence, and she called the board's denial of the exact same request that the woman had made erroneous. And sadly, that is standard language for it was mistaken. But it's worse than that, because anybody using just a scintilla, a quantum of common sense would have said, gee, there's something wrong with those meters. The appeals board admitted it couldn't find a leak source. Board members speculated about all kinds of things, like someone stealing millions of gallons of water without anyone noticing. Maybe there's a chance of vandalism or somebody stealing your water in an unattended building, one board member said. But they had no evidence of that. They just said it's possible. They considered leaks deep underneath the building that no one could find. Someone suggested that the plumbers brought in were not qualified, but it turns out they had proof that they were qualified. And so for the first time since January of 2023, this woman doesn't feel like she's drowning in millions of gallons of water that didn't seem to exist. She said, it seems to me there's a problem with the meters. It's one of those things that up until this point, with them consistently saying, no, it's not the meters, it's something else. Now that you win, it's like, I think it is the meters. So for months, the I team from Fox 5 Atlanta has been trying to talk to somebody at the city, like, I don't know, the mayor's office or the Department of Watershed Management, and they were consistently told they wouldn't get a comment because the case was in litigation. Well, it's no longer in litigation, but they're still getting a no comment. So I guess theoretically the city could still appeal this. And meanwhile, another homeowner is waiting for a judge's decision in a similar case. And so it's one of those things. Don't get me wrong. Is it possible that those meters are fine and somebody waited until the meter was changed and stole millions of gallons of water and never got caught? And then when they saw the meter was about to get changed, they stopped. Is that possible? I mean, hypothetically, it's possible. But understand that when you're in a situation like this, you have to look at the evidence, and much of it is circumstantial, right? So meter changed, bill spikes. Meters changed, bill drops. That looks like an interesting coincidence that those things happen at that exact moment in time. But the question is, what does the city have going for its side of the argument? They're going to go, well, we believe the meters are accurate. But are the meters so reliable that, like, what they say is carved in stone and handed to Moses and taken down the side of a mountain? I mean, no. Meters can malfunction. All kinds of things can malfunction. And so if a judge is looking at this going, gee, what's more likely? Because if you don't have the carved in stone proof, you have to go off of what's likely, what's probably happening, that kind of thing. You look at this and go, oh, the meters were defective. Now, it would be a different case if they said, we saved the old meter. We've tested it. There's nothing wrong with it. And we can prove it was installed properly. Because that's another question. What if installing it wrong somehow caused it to malfunction? I don't know. That's possible also. I don't know what kind of meters these are. Because I'm sure you know that they've been changing water meters and power meters in the last few years. Upgrading them, modern technology, all that stuff. Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, I don't know. TikTok. Is your water meter on TikTok? So the good news here is that the woman won. Otherwise, she had to pay an $81,000 water bill, which, as noted previously, could become most likely a lien on the property. So if she ever wanted to sell the property or refinance the property, somebody's going to go, you got to get rid of that water bill, which means you got to pay it. So a judge says, no, you don't. No, you don't. And it's sad that she had to go through this, but I suspect that she spent less than $81,000 fighting it. So the Atlanta property owner beat City Hall over an $81,000 water bill, and she's won in court. Dana Fowle wrote that. Adam sent it. Thanks a lot. Fox5Atlanta.com ran it. Questions, comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. Facts are meaningless. You can use facts to prove anything that's even remotely true.